Final Fantasy VII Intermission starts with Yuffie entering Midgar so she can work with Avalanche. As she gets closer to the Sector 7 slums, she runs into a couple of black-robed men, but she ignores them. Then Yuffie arrives at the slums where she meets her point of contact, ZJ, who takes her to the proper Avalanche hideout, where she's introduced to Billy Bob, Polk, and Nio. Side note here, these people work with the proper Avalanche organization, not Barrett's branch. But getting back to the game, Yuffie introduces herself as a materia hunter and elite special forces operative for the new Wutai government, or just a ninja to make it short. And we find out her mission is to sneak into Shinra's headquarters to steal their ultimate materia. After some time passes, Yuffie's partner Sonon appears after doing some recon. Following this, Yuffie and Sonon go with Nio to get their fake train IDs. However, along the way they see Barrett and Tifa after fighting Airbuster. Side note here, this DLC takes place between Cloud falling into Sector 5 up to the Sector 7 plate drop in the original game. But getting back to the game, Tifa hears about Don Corneo looking for Barrett, which leads to her trying to be his bride in the original game. After this, Yuffie and Sonon get their IDs. Unfortunately, when they return, ZJ is being chased by Shinra guards. So Nio goes back to inform the others, and the two ninjas chase ZJ. When they catch up, Yuffie distracts the guards and Sonon saves ZJ. Unfortunately, a giant machine is released, so our heroes fight it and win. After this, ZJ gives the ninjas their Shinra IDs and he leaves to tell the rest of Avalanche about Shinra trying to drop the Sector 7 plate, which explains how Barrett was fighting Shinra when Cloud, Tifa, and Aerith got to Sector 7 in the original game. But getting back to the story, Yuffie and Sonon get on the train and everyone says goodbye and wishes them luck. As the two ninjas are on the train, Sonon reveals that he and his sister Melfi trained under Yuffie's father, and that his sister died protecting people from a Shinra machine, which explains his motivation for doing this. After this, the two ninjas get to Shinra headquarters where they end up in an elevator with a Shinra executive named Scarlet. Unfortunately, Scarlet discovers they're from Wutai and forces them to fight some of Shinra's advanced weapons. But before they start fighting, Sonon reveals that Scarlet created the weapon that killed his sister. So as the ninjas destroy the advanced weapons, they reach where they think the materia is, but it isn't. So Scarlet taunts them and forces the ninjas to fight more machines. This leads them to Scarlet and a prototype the scientist wants to test out. After a brutal fight, Scarlet triggers an alarm to Deepground, a top secret military branch within Shinra, and they release Nero to deal with Yuffie and Sonon. But before Nero makes his way up, he talks to Vice about the scientist making a virtual copy of him. Side note here, if you want to know more about Deepground, Vice, or Nero, play Dirge of Cerberus, the original game they were introduced in. But getting back to the game, our heroes capture Scarlet and she reveals that Shinra has been trying to create a very powerful materia, but it hasn't been created yet. Following this, some Deepground soldiers arrive to corner Yuffie and Sonon in a VR room. Unfortunately, Scarlet programs the room to create a monster similar to Genova, which our heroes fight, and she orders Nero to kill the ninjas when they leave the room. Unfortunately, when Yuffie and Sonon escape the VR room, they run into Nero and have an extremely tough fight, but they win. However, Nero isn't dead, so he tries to attack Yuffie, but Sonon takes the fatal blow to save her life. Then Sonon pushes Yuffie out the door so she can escape. Then the game stays with Sonon, who sees a hallucination of his sister as he passes away. However, Nero doesn't consume his body like the other people on this floor, meaning that we might see Sonon again later on down the line. Then the game cuts to Yuffie escaping Shinra headquarters just as the Sector 7 plate collapses. Then the game cuts to Yuffie realizing that she can't defeat Shinra alone, teasing her meeting everyone in Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Then the game cuts to Cloud, Barrett, Tifa, Aerith, and Red 13 entering the town of Calm. And lastly, we get a scene of Zack visiting Aerith at the church, but When he opens the door, all he sees are people crying, and he calls her name in a questioning manner. And that is the end of Final Fantasy VII Remake Intermission. With that being said, if you want to see more timeline videos like this one, or video essays on your favorite video games, like, comment, and subscribe with notifications turned on. But with that being said, it's been Skipx and I'm out.